Welcome back. All right, we just finished our bouncing ball animation using keyframes, and we're going to do it again using a different style of animation. We're going to do a tween. So let me open a new file so you can kind of see a tween first, and then how you could do a ball with a tween. Okay, so a new file, Command or Control N. Hold on, there we go. Control N. It opens a new file, full HD, 24 frames per second. And I'm just going to show you how to tween something very simply. The way a tween works is that you create an object, and it needs to be a symbol. So this is really important. It won't tween properly otherwise. There are some exceptions to that rule, but we'll talk about that in a different video. All right, so let's just create something. A rectangle, for example. I don't want it to be white because I want to be able to see it on my background. And here's my rectangle. Okay. My selection tool will be on the keyboard, F8, and I'll turn it into a symbol. Green rectangle. All right. And so to tween something, and this is the classic tween I'm going to do first. There's another kind of tween, just the straight up motion tween. That allows you to do that. Another type of tween as well. So really all it is you have a symbol, okay? It is, you can see the keyframe on the keyboard, on the timeline, sorry. And basically you just need to decide how much time it's going to take. So let's say it's going to be 2 seconds. 1 second, 24 frames to the other, this side of the stage, and then 1 second back. So what I could do is simply click the 24th frame, so it's highlighted in blue here. Click the 24th frame. F6 on the keyboard gives me a new keyframe. And as you can see, if I scrub my timeline, there is no action because basically their keyframes are the same. And then I just shift, and that keeps my symbol from moving up or down. It just keeps it horizontal. And as you can see, it jumps from one to the next. Okay? All right, so you define keyframe 1, you define keyframe 2, and how much time is between them. And then now that I've shifted the space, right, I can tell the software to tween. So I click here on the layer to highlight all the frames. You can see they're highlighted blue. And right-click anywhere in these blue frames and create the classic tween. It's the first one on the list. Okay? And as you can see, changes the color of the layer, and the layer now has an arrow in it, and it turns purple. That's called tweening. And now if I wanted to tween it back, I could click on the 2 second mark, give it another keyframe, F6, and grab that object and move it back, and it goes back. And there's all kinds of things that you can do with tweening. You can rotate, you can change color, you can change opacity, you can do a ton of stuff. But we'll come back and do tweening in depth a little later, but I want to show you how to use tweening for the bouncing ball. All right, so we're going to go back to the bouncing ball assignment. I'm going to close this untitled one here, not save it, and go back to this one here where I've got my bouncing ball. Okay, right, so there's my bouncing ball using keyframes and illustrating the process of squash and stretch. I'm going to lock that layer because I don't want anything to happen to it. And then I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to call it maybe green ball. Okay, so in this layer, I'm going to try and simulate what I did with keyframing using tweening. So oval tool, and I can put it next to it. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. Close enough. All right, turn it into a symbol, green ball. Click OK. And I can tween. So obviously, if I'm going to simulate it, this is where the ball hits the ground, right? So it hits the ground here. So this is where I'm going to want to put another keyframe, F6, and drag the ball down. Right? This is where it squashes, F6, another keyframe, Q on the keyboard, Alt, squash, no Alt, stretch, and notice I haven't applied my tween yet. Okay, continue that process. Another level of squash and stretch, so again, another keyframe, F6, Alt, squash, no Alt, stretch. And again, I think that was it. It starts to unsquash here, right? So rather than trying to eyeball that, we can just copy keyframes. So I can take this keyframe and Alt drag it over here. And then I can take this keyframe and Alt drag it here. And then I can take this keyframe and Alt drag it here in order to get it back to its original position. And so I've got up, down, squash, squash much more, unsquash, fully unsquashed, and then back up in the air. Okay? Highlight the layer, right-click anywhere in the layer, apply the classic tween. Pressing the enter on the keyboard to play. You'll notice that the green ball doesn't have the same acceleration and deceleration. It doesn't feel quite as organic as the red ball, because we kind of built it in when we were doing it. We built in the acceleration and the deceleration when it went back up in the air, and we altered the timing a little bit. So when you're using a tween, it becomes a little bit more mechanical. So you're going to have to apply the ease in and the ease out here in the timeline to certain keyframes. And the most part, this keyframe, because it's going to be coming down and you want it to speed up. Okay, so over here in the property panel, you'll see the classic ease, which we're going to do. Okay, and a negative 100 is a classic ease in. And here on the frame where it starts to go back up, we're going to add a positive 100, which is an ease out. Okay. So as you can see, it matches the ball on the right a little bit more, and it's more of an. It becomes you'll maybe be a little confused to begin with when you're doing this, but you'll get better with time as we do some more animations. So this is important. All right. So what you're going to do is save this file as animation 01, and then upload it to Canvas here. And really, all I need is the two layers: the green ball and the red ball. The green ball's done with a tween. The red ball's done with a keyframe. And we can zoom about this on the next Zoom session. So that's really all you need to do. Next video, the second animation, we're going to be going into how to nest animation, whether it be keyframed or tweened or some other things. And then plus I'll also do some other animation, other video tutorials on the different styles of animation as well. That's a whole different project too. There you have it. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye.